Hi, I'm McKenna, this is Willow Talk, and today we're going to talk about recycling. So, growing up, we're always taught about the 3 R's. In my opinion, too briefly, but that's irrelevant. And the 3 R's are reduce, reuse, and recycle. There's actually 7 R's, but that's for another discussion. For some reason though, growing up, I always felt like recycling was the most important one. And I don't know if it's because it was the one that was used more in front of us, how schools always had those big blue recycling bins right in the classroom, but you didn't really have like thrift shops right next door. As I learned about sustainability and growing up, I realized that recycling really should be your last option. And it's not only because recycling actually ends up using more resources, more fuel, more money, but also because it's just more sustainable long term for ourselves and for the environment. It makes way more sense to reuse things we already have or what other people have and reducing our consumption altogether than trying to make new with old things, like using new things at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So today I want to break down what happens to recyclables after you throw them in the bin and some of the problems with the steps and why it's not super successful here in America, at least. So to start off, let's go through the steps. So once your recyclables are thrown into the bin, picked up from the curbside, dropped off wherever you may do them. I, for instance, don't have curbside pickup, so I have to take mine into town to a drop-off site. Luckily for me, where I live is single stream, so if I were to live in town, I could just put all my recyclables in one bin, they get picked up on the curb, and they go to what's called a materials recovery facility, or also known as MRFs. Other places have dual recycling, which means you actually have to sort them. Where I drop off my recycling, you actually have to sort it on site, so it works out easily there. But other cities, you have to sort your recycling yourself because the MRFs work differently. Once your recyclables are sent to MRFs, they'll be sorted and packaged up to be sold to other companies to be processed to make new products. So you'll see these big giant cubes, I think they weigh about a ton, and they're sold to companies by their products, so whether it be plastic, paper, etc. The problem is those need to be purchased, and recycling has been proven to not be super profitable. For example, we have way too many recyclables than people are needing, because even though recycling is used to create new products, you still have to mix those recyclables with new products, and we just have way more than people are needing to process. Also, due to new regulations, it's been harder to sell them because most of our recyclables aren't actually sold to companies in America. They're sold to other countries like China, for instance, who don't have their own MRFs to process their recyclables. So China has set a new regulation where they want our contamination rate to be down to 0.3%. That's 0.3. Our current contamination rate is 25%. 1 in 4 items that you are throwing in the recycle bin should actually be thrown away. And then our MRFs have to waste more money, time, and resources to get those non-recyclable items sent to a landfill, to where, although you tried to do something good, it didn't do anything at all. And the other problem with that is when you wish cycle, you're possibly contaminating actually good recyclables, but then they have to be sent to the landfill because they got contaminated. So another problem would be that trash is cheap. In Alabama, you can bury a ton of trash for $19. What? Since recycling has been proven to be not profitable, now mixed paper has dropped in price. It used to be $75 a ton and now it's $25 a ton. Still, trash is cheaper. And because we're losing profit, MRFs are struggling to stay open in the first place. And MRFs are the foundation of our recycling system. They have to process our recyclables for them to be sold in the first place. And if MRFs can't even stay open, what are we gonna do with our recyclables? I hope you guys liked my first video. I hope you also stick around for my next episode where I'm going to actually help you guys out and talk about some specific rules of recycling and how we can kind of avoid having to do it in the first place. So with that being said, go ahead if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave me a comment. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you can get notified for my next video. And all of my sources for this video will actually be linked in the description. So if you need any proof of anything I said today or in future videos, that will always be there. In the meantime, stay sustainable. Cool.